At one point, I was doing the designs for like future jobs. I was doing landscaping and doing maintenance, and I was like, this is insane. Lots of opportunities I feel to really kind of help to utilize this in a way which really kind of can help us to make more informed decisions as designers, and also help to present designs in a really beautiful way, and also save a lot of time.
Hello, and welcome to the Permaculture Vine podcast, where we talk about permaculture, education, careers, and business. I'm your host, Cormac Harkin, and today we have Olly Boon with us. Welcome, Olly.
Hello, thanks, Cormac. Cheers, thanks for the invite. Thank you.
Thank you for agreeing. Olly, just want to give us a quick 30-second introduction there, please.
Yeah. Oh, hello, everyone. My name is Olly Boon. I'm currently based in the Sacred Valley in Peru, in the Andes. I've been kind of doing permaculture designs professionally now for about 7 years. I started off over in North Wales in the UK. There's many things that kind of brought me to kind of how of kind of developing, ongoing developing systems for design at the minute. Don't really know what else I can say about myself.
That's enough. We'll get that all in a minute. No, that's great. We'll just get through it. So, when did you first discover permaculture? When did you hear about it?
Well, it's funny actually, because I had a friend was visiting the other day, Douglas. He's just left, and they asked me the same question. I went out for some lunch with the friends, and he's going through a challenge with some land at the minute in Guatemala, which is where I first came across it. I was traveling late 2000s, so I think it's about 2009, 2010, through Central American countries for around kind of 7 years or so. And I arrived at Guatemala, at Lago Atitlan, and the night that I got there, I actually met someone. I went to a party and I met this guy, and he asked me to manage his cultural community center. He was leaving the next day to Sweden, and he was like, "Hey, we've just met, but would you like to manage this cultural community center?" And so I ended up doing that for 6 months in Guatemala, and I went to a little tiny village called Sununa, which is, when I went there, it was a very quiet village. I wouldn't even call it a village. It was just a few houses. And I met a guy called David Casey, who's he's the guy that runs the Cosmic Convergence Festival, and he also has a project called newmundo.org, and a guy called Sam, and they had some land. And that was when I first really kind of came across it, because they were doing a permaculture project there. And I mentioned this in the table to my friends the other day, and their faces just dropped, because they are the exact same people that they have the land in this tiny little village in Sununa in Guatemala. So yeah, that was the first time I came across it. I wasn't really entirely sure what it was. It sounded interesting, and I kind of think a lot of people coming into permaculture, they maybe assume it's like something to do with either gardening or maybe perms, something to do with the 80s haircut, the perm. I don't know. But I wasn't really entirely sure what it was. But I went on to stay there in the cultural community center for about 6 months or so, and we worked with lots of different Mayan elders and wisdom keepers who came to do workshops there, and also the kind of permaculture community. So that was, I guess, really the kind of my first kind of insight into it. And then I guess at various points in my life, it kind of showed up. When I went back to the UK. This was after I was living in Peru many years ago. I used to take textiles back to the UK from the indigenous communities here, and go to festivals and things in the UK to go and sell them. And we had a friend in the local community in Llanfyllin called Steve Jones, and he runs a permaculture kind of organization called Sector 39. And so I was there at a festival, and I was chatting with Steve. And he was like, "I really want you to come and do a permaculture course." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm interested." Because I really wanted to do a course. I was like, "Well, I haven't got much cash at the minute, but I'm interested if there's something I could do in exchange or whatever." And he goes, "I'm gonna." This is with me and my partner at the time. He goes, "I'm gonna give you 2 for 1, and I'm gonna do a crowdfunder to raise you the money." And he did. He did a crowdfunder when we went back that week, and within a week, the crowdfunder covered for the course. So yeah, and then I did my first PDC with Steve, and to be quite honest, I think probably I didn't really. I was quite I guess confused because all the going into it, all the abstract concepts about patterns and weather cycles and all these different things. I was like, okay, and then I guess there was a moment probably about 3 or 4 days in where something kind of clicked, and I kind of realized that this was a kind of holistic process. It was a holistic kind of design process. And I wouldn't say I got it because I still haven't got it now. It's for me, permaculture is it's almost like a constantly emerging process of, and kind of it's like understanding like the natural way and how things flow and being able to work with that. And so yeah, and then I did a course with him. I think I did in total 3 courses with him. Um, and then I went on, yeah. So yeah, planted seeds. It definitely planted seeds. I'd say each course that I did, I think I've done 6 PDCs now, but I've also done a number of different specialist courses. I'd say I learn more and more every time. And I'd also say like one of the ways how I learn more and more every time is to approach it with the beginner's mind. So really approach each course. Like the last one I did with Aranya, the last PDC, and at that point I've been doing design for I think about maybe about 5 years or something, and even going in there with a completely open mind, and not the I know idea, but and actually learning so much from the people who were just coming into it. Their insights were so powerful, and how they understand it really helped me to get insights in the fundamentals through those perspectives. So yeah, I guess that was how it kind of came into permaculture as well. Yeah, I guess that's yeah, it's a brief kind of
A
overview into
brief.
that. Yeah.
Well, you're 6 PDCs. I think that's you're definitely on the top of the leaderboard for the podcast. Anyway, I know someone who has 3. I thought that was a lot. Definitely something I'll do again because my PDC was online. I really want to go back and do an in-person PDC here in Ireland just to get that sort of more relevant to the climate and the people experience. Now, it might be a while till the kids grow up, but it's still on the list. They do. Uh, so your first PDC, that was an in-person PDC then?
Yeah, the first one was just outside. Um, uh, it's like mid Wales. I'm just trying to remember the name of the town. It's quite escaping me. It's not far. It's like kind of past Welshpool. It was mid Wales. Yeah, beautiful place. It was right on the top of a hill. I remember the lady Betty who was running there, whose place it was. She was doing lots of like kind of felting and weaving and things like this. And yeah, so it was the first place was up there, and yeah, Steve was a really good introduction. He's very charismatic. Been doing lots of work in Uganda. Yeah, and he's really he's introduced so many people to permaculture. He's done yeah, many different really good work, and he's got a really good heart as well. So yeah, if anyone's in that area and they fancy, kind of having the introduction to it, then Steve's a great person for that. Yeah.
Great stuff. And you touched on that there. We'll get to your current business, but you sound as if you were a traveling but of an entrepreneur doing different things. Was that be correct?
Yeah, I guess it's like as I was traveling, I've always had this. I guess one of the expressions of my being is kind of being quite resourceful and like innovative based upon what's in the area. If there's certain like things that are available in an area, and perhaps there's certain things that I see that aren't there that maybe if that people might be interested in, then I kind of help to provide that, I guess, in a way, and also linking. So yeah, one of the things I was doing was with the textiles. I ran a company called the Roots Project for a number of years, I think about 4 or 5 years, where we were kind of helping not just to kind of sell the textiles and art and ponchos and medicines and clothes and things like that for the communities, but also trying to help tell the story of the indigenous peoples who have retained something that many of us in the West have kind of has lost, has been way lost. So helping to provide a platform to share their messages. So yeah, the Roots Project is one thing I was doing. Another thing, I was even selling hot sauces last time I was here in Peru. Also playing music, DJing and playing handpan and things. And yeah, so I was doing that for a number of years. And yeah, I guess like to kind of link that to the permaculture. It's like when I kind of came back to the UK after traveling for I think about around 7 years or so. Well, my best friend passed away here in Peru. Harry Corder Greaves. He fell from a mountain, and kind of after that, the kind of traveling stopped a bit. I went back to the UK, and I realized I didn't really want to work for another company. I hadn't had great experiences doing that in the past, and I kind of fancied just giving it a go, giving this permaculture a go. So I actually just started gardening. I started gardening. I was probably doing that for about a year, and then like as I was doing it, this was around the time I think I did the third PDC. I was like, well, why not try this? Give this permaculture design thing a go. Why not? Because it's like it's fun. I had a bit of fun doing the practices, and so I just thought, okay, I'm going to give it a go. I'll just go out there, and got some friends that are quite experienced, that are quite experienced. So I just thought, all right, I'll put it out there. So I created a little logo for a business, Ecologic, I think I called it at the time, which I thought was really original, but apparently loads of companies called Ecologic. And I put a call out on this was just on the Facebook groups, and it was literally within about an hour or 2 hours, a job came in, and it was quite a big one. It was quite probably say about an acre, multiple different things, and I got it. I was like amazing, got the job, and I was like, oh my god, how the hell do I do this? Like, what am I going to do? And I actually realized that when I was speaking to my friends who I felt like they might have been not been able, quite more confident in a way. I actually realized that they didn't really know either, like a kind of a design process. They knew the principles, knew a lot of the techniques and theories, but actually going through a process of designing like a site, and they're a bit like, oh, I don't know, and there's a lot of confidence kind of issues, I guess. So I kind of like sought out some kind of mentors, who had been designing professionally for a number of years, and at the same time, I also kind of set off in my own way, kind of like looking at resources and kind of like looking at the patterns and looking at the systems in place to kind of help to understand the process of design. So yeah, that's kind of took me on a journey then, like over the years, and had multiple different design jobs. At this time, I was also landscaping and doing gardening, with earth repairs with a company, changed the name, and so that I guess I was really kind of blessed, I guess, in a way, because each new design job would kind of push me. It would I would feel like I could do it, but it would also push me to the edge of my comfort zone, and it would also test me and like almost like invite me to develop new skills to develop the process. And I also realized, I think, as I went on, all the areas of skills that I was lacking in. One of them was like, probably the most important permaculture is water design and hydrology, and understanding how water flows and help understanding how key line works, and swales access, and how we can kind of integrate these with site design. So I kind of set out on that journey, and I was also very impassioned and interested in learning about food forests and agroecology. And also, one of the things I'm really interested in now is the kind of the integration of agroecology and forest garden design with kind of mainstream with agriculture, and how we can integrate, mimic food forest patterns in perhaps with key lines, optimally, and then like kind of but mimic the layers of a food forest in a field, where in between those layers, in between the rows of agroecology, like the tall trees, nitrogen fixers, shrubs, ground covers, perennials, all of them, like, actually have options for either silver pasture or alley cropping in between those, which I actually I integrated that recently into a design. Yeah, so I'm quite interested in that kind of I guess that integration of like more wilder patterns of ecology, and how we can integrate those into agriculture, basically. Yeah.
And that was that in the UK,
Yeah, so
the
this was a design.
integration.
Yeah, it's design I did about I think it was probably about a year and a half ago. And this is the one, actually, it's got quite good we bring it up, because it passed the planning application, and it's planning application maybe not so many people know about, where you can get agricultural, and you can basically have residential planning on agricultural land in the UK, and it's called the paragraph 80. One sec. And the paragraph 80, it's basically it's planning law, which was introduced hundreds of years ago, by like very wealthy landowners who wanted to put like kind of big estates, like houses onto land, but they didn't go through the regular planning law. So the criteria for paragraph 80, like how to pass a paragraph 80, it's very like vague and ambiguous. It's like it's got to be outstanding design and like change the levels of like of design standards in the area, and it's like it's all these kind of things that you can't really, you know, it's not like this or that.
Somebody wakes up in a bad mood. It's not outstanding.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's whether they like it or not, basically.
uh, uh,
And so yeah, the clients were kind of they were like they were property developers, but they're really kind of yearning to do more ecological, regenerative property development, which I had chats with them recently about a model that I've been working on. So yeah, it's just a field basically. It was a field, no houses around. I think that's one of the other kind of things. It's like there's a certain has to be a certain distance from the nearest house, which this one was. It wasn't that far, but and it was about 10 acres. And yeah, so the planning application, so went through the design process. It's interesting because I was working with architects. It was the first project I worked on with architects, and they actually put the house in the sink of the site, so in the lowest point of the site. They sited it, so it's like in the frost pocket, and also where all the water comes. And they were really lovely, though. So I kind of gave them some feedback, and they were really open and lovely, and they really listened to some of the suggestions as well as the kind of positioning of some of the rooms and the angle of the roof and the thermal mass and the ventilation and all this kind of thing. And they integrated it, and so then we put a planning proposal together, um, and we went through what they call a design review panel. And design review panel was from with a series of architects, landscape architects, and also there were people there from the council. And then basically, yeah, we shared the design. We did a design kind of presentation, and the panel were like they'd never come across anything like that before. They said like this is I'm completely like kind of blown away kind of thing by the concepts of permaculture, because they're so used to seeing landscape architecture where the focus is on aesthetics, less on function. It seems like more on like how it looks. So anyway, the feedback from the first one was really, really good. But this was a really important point, a really good insight for me. It's like, but I guess the language and some of the things that they were used to seeing from these kind of presentations, they weren't there. So what we did then is we came back and we worked with. I put the call out for a landscape architect who did a permaculture course, and you know what, I think there were like two or so that like actually showed up on the Permaculture UK group. And just on this note as well, when I first decided to start designing in permaculture, I kind of put a call out for mentors or people that have been doing it before, and I think this was 2016 or something. And on that Permaculture UK group, there were like less than 5 people that responded that were actually doing it as a service, And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Probably tens of thousands of people in PDCs, and so few are offering it as a service. I'm sure the numbers are way more now, but I think it's really a important role, important job, important task for people if they're so inspired to do that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think you're. I sorry. Do you want to finish there? Was
Yeah, I guess I'll summarize it as quickly as I can. So then we brought in a landscape architect, and then we kind of did like just slight customizations to how the design was presented. The design was pretty much the same, but then they basically just fit the things that fit all the criteria that they were looking to see. And a lot of it was about aesthetics. It was about the character aspect and things like this. And so then we went to do the second design review panel, and it passed. So it got accepted. So now this field, agricultural lands, and got passed through this notoriously difficult planning process. And the design review panel, the people on there said, as far as they're aware, this is the first permaculture paragraph 80 application that's been put through. So I think I just wanted to share that with anyone that's listening that might not be aware of that as an option for planning. Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, we'll segment that out as well. We'll put that as a separate video. So if somebody is, that'll help someone, maybe inspire someone to do a paragraph 80. The
Yeah.
way you speak there, Ollie, is you say things so matter of fact. I just started gardening. I just became a designer. Like, and then not many people do. A lot of people get to their PDC and then they don't know what to do afterwards. Then they wait a while, and then they wait a while, and before they know it, the PDC's gone. It's been a year, 2 years, and they find it very difficult. And that's one of the things that sort of inspired this podcast, was they sort of showcase people's careers. So it's good you have that, just so matter of factness that you did it. A lot of people don't have that, and so it's good to see. So when you say you started gardening, I take it you just put an ad out in the paper, got a lawnmower, and away you went.
Pretty much, yeah. Put an ad out in local, what was it? I think local Facebook groups and stuff. And at the same time, I was kind of starting up a demo garden, like a permaculture demo garden, in a field, like just in North Wales. It was my mum had a field that she wasn't doing anything with, and she was like, "Oh, do you want to use the field? You know, because we used to have a horse. The horse went, and the horse passed away, and yeah, we used to have a field. So I started doing this, and it's funny because like it's one of those interesting synchronicities. Like the first gardening job that I get, it's just down the road, like in a little place called Brunigarth, and I go to this place, and whoever was at this house before, they had a food growing system going up. They had like, I think it was about 5 fruit trees. There's loads of like berry bushes, composting system. There's loads of rhubarbs. There was like loads of things there. And this guy basically said like, I want it all clearing for a football field. I want it all clearing and flattening for a football field. I was like, okay. And then so I just like removed all
Dug
these
it up.
trees and replanted them,
Yeah.
and it started the basis of it. And there was loads of like espalier and cordon like trained like trees, like fruit trees. So we just moved them all. So it was quite funny. It happened quite a lot with the gardening job. So it's, if there's
Right.
kind of, I guess you've got some kind of garden system set up, the gardening's quite complementary because some people just get them. It's often materials you can find like that, and
Yeah.
also
So
in
give me.
the.
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, after you. I
No.
was just going to add, like, also we had a garden centre like near the house, and as we're setting this demo garden up, they had like a massive yard at the back, and it was full of resources. Like, and I mean full. There was like there was loads of like slabs, there was loads of stones, loads of sand. There was even compost. There were loads of plants, like trees that they were throwing out that were fine, crazy. And yeah, the reason like fish tanks, there were all kinds of things. And like I went over and just communicated with them that we're setting up this garden, and they actually gave me access to this, to it. It was like, okay, well, just go and help yourself. So actually, it was a lot of the demo garden was kind of built with that. It's all just the resources coming from over the road. Yeah.
Yeah. So what a good point is there. Then you were, as well as you're out doing the gardens, which is getting into your community and getting you access to these resources. You're out and about. You're looking. You got the fields. You were able to practice it. So there's a lot of things happening at the same time. But unless you don't start that process, these things aren't going to come your way.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
hear you. And I think one of the valuable things, you touched on something there that I think I kind of, looking back on it now, how I could have done it better was really starting small and to build well-managed systems and then scaling out strategically. I have ADHD, which is a blessing and sometimes a burden, but mostly now it's a blessing. So it's been a tendency to kind of do too much too soon without actually kind of methodically thinking things through. So yeah, I think thinking back then, that's one of the things was like kind of perhaps doing, I sort of slowed down a bit, and actually, even though there was a plan, there was a design, I think actually the process and the steps I took could have been a lot more effective getting there. Yeah.
yeah, but is it not the case where if you slow down, the thing gets parked?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's something else shiny to go and inspire you. Slow and steady solutions are a bit difficult there. Um,
Yeah. It's a balance, isn't it? It's like achieving that balance all the time. It's like not too slow, but also not too quick.
uh, uh, right. So, hey, so you just started designing. You said you just put an ad on Facebook. So you obviously must have a way with words and marketing. You just put an ad out. So, would you recommend somebody now do a Facebook post if they were, say, like myself now in Northern Ireland? I want to offer local designs. Would you use just Facebook group next door? Any advice for someone starting out?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, advice, I guess, for someone starting out is, I mean, for one, what I was looking for really back then, was looking for someone, if I to get to work with on designs, or to have that, just that design feedback. That's what I was really missing back then. I really wanted someone who was more experienced, so I could go out there and do design, like do the best I could, and at various stages just kind of check in with someone. And I think for someone who's starting out, like I think I'd say, obviously, if you, depending on your levels of competency, if you've done like a diploma and you've done multiple designs, or if you've just finished a PDC, there's different levels of the competency and how confident you'll feel as a result of that. But I'd say, like, I'd say go and give it a go. I'd say give it a go. Be honest. Be completely honest as well with the situation. With where you're at of experience levels, and be honest with yourself. Completely. I think that's absolutely completely important all the time with life. But I'd say, like, taking that first step for a lot of people can often be the hardest. It can often be the most daunting. And I think kind of, it's almost like the experience of like jumping off like a rock into the river. Sometimes I feel like you gotta kind of like just not, it's like almost like push past those mental barriers and those kind of doubts that we have about ourselves, and try and give it a go. And also, asking for help, asking for mentors, and having that openness, that openness for help, because a lot of people sometimes struggle with that. I think it's a really important role at the minute, and I think if you're considering it, if you're even considering it, I'd say it's the time to step up and to do it. And there is lots of help now. There aren't the resources now available that weren't available then. Like Cormac, with the design course that you're setting up as well, just to get competent with base maps. And also we're setting up with the Earth Repairs Design School, where we're offering that kind of support, taking people through like a step-by-step process. And it's basically what we're doing is like sharing the step-by-step process of where I'm at the minute. It's not the design process, it's a design process, which is like it's basically the best that I've come up with. And it's not mine, it's parts from different teachers. Some of it's from Richard Perkins, some from Geoff Lawton, some of it's from Martin Crawford, all these different things. And it's kind of to have that, what I found, the way how I work best is to kind of have a systemized step-by-step process, even though permaculture is not really like that. Ecology isn't really like that. And at certain stages of the design process, we might use certain tools and not use other tools. But to have that kind of, okay, here's what's next, or here are the options for what's next, really helps me now to work with design processes. No matter what the job. And if I come across something which I don't know, or I'm struggled with, I'll research that, and I'll reach out to specialists. I'll reach out to experts. Even on that last job I was just sharing about then, like there was a guy in the States who actually had a design that he did, which was very similar to the one I designed, and I noticed it. It was like, oh, this is really similar. So I gave him, I got in touch and I got on a call with him, and we talked through the design just to kind of anticipate like the things with the installation and the maintenance of how it went for him, so we can make some alterations on this design. And I also, one of the mentors I call in every now and again is Richard Perkins. I did a regen ag course with him, and if we've got certain design projects, especially if it's involving keyline or intricate water systems, then I'll give him a shout. And his mind is amazing. This guy is absolutely amazing the way he approaches things. So I'd say that, if you're even thinking about it, I'd encourage you to take that step, find work, or also reach out to local other designers potentially. And I do think, just on that note, I do think it's really a time to network and collaborate for a lot of us designers. A lot of people that are doing this as well with the other aspects of it, the installation, landscaping, maintenance, etc. It's a really good opportunity for us to collaborate and work together. And so if you're thinking about it, do it. Be honest with yourself, but also take that jump off the rock into the river. And
Yeah.
keep your head up and look around, because there's others who have been there, and there's others who have gone through various stages. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I found. Networking has been peer reviews it's been very good, and my learning curve, just having people to go and jump on a call, especially places I have done a few designs in Florida. Just having somebody look over the plant list and say, "Does this plant list seem reasonable?" And somebody who lives in
Exactly.
Florida, and then the Telegram group that we have. If any budding designers want to join it, there's experienced designers in there. You can ask questions. I'll leave the link in the description as well. I think there's 25 designers in there now, all sharing resources. So if anybody wants to join that,
It's so important. Good job. Yeah, good work. So important to have those.
cheers. We're trying to build these networks out, particularly as well as you say, because you can't be an expert you can't be an expert in everything, and bringing the right people in is very important. And even more so now, bringing permaculture marketing people in. And then there's different models you can do as well. You mentioned there, I like particularly like Jose Ansalega was on the podcast. He partners with landscapers. So he'll do the design, he'll bring a landscaping partner in, they'll do the heavy lifting, and then he'll project manage it. So he's not actually out there digging holes, but he's on site, and he's managing the customer, he's managing the process, he's making sure all the earthworks are done right. So that's for somebody who's not as fit. Consider that option as well. You don't have to go out digging the holes.
Yeah, I found the same. I found the same as well because I was at one point I was doing the designs for like future jobs. I was doing landscaping and doing maintenance, and I was like, this is insane. Like my energy levels, it was just like it was way too much. Just working at night doing design, and so I ended up not only taking inviting some friends to come and do some landscaping who are good landscapers and woodworkers and stuff like this, but also I just completely backed off doing the landscaping. Actually, I had a friend who's a very experienced project manager to come in and do the project managing as well. And I realized that I really enjoy doing the landscaping. I really enjoy doing the gardening and stuff like that, and doing the installations. But at the same time, it's like that I have two like different parts of me. It's like I like to express the design like aspects, and thinking up creative solutions, and at the same time I also like to do the physical stuff as well, but I also like to visit the gardening stuff at the house, so I was doing that in my own garden, and actually providing more work opportunities for friends to go and do the installations. So I felt like that for me that was kind of it was a progression for it.
So you mentioned you have a school and you teach the mapping. How did you learn that? Did you teach yourself, or did you just pick it up throughout the years?
Yeah, so I mean, like the design school, it's launching like on June 21st, so it's in 10 days. And basically the vision for it is to basically provide people who are interested in design with a kind of systemized step-by-step process where we kind of deep dive into all the different aspects of of a design process, which I'm currently working with. So yeah, the mapping is the first one. I guess part of the vision as well, which is kind of quite a key part really, is to kind of explore how we can integrate established and emerging technologies into permaculture design. Because obviously, with all of these advances that are happening at an insane rate, there's lots of opportunities I feel to really kind of help to utilize this in a way which really kind of can help us to make more informed decisions as designers, and also help to present designs in a really beautiful way, and also save a lot of time. So certainly working with some tools, some AI tools, some assessment tools, some analysis tools, also with design for ideas. There's so many different things and how we can use AI nowadays. It's crazy, and maybe we could dive a little bit into that at some point if you like. But as far as the mapping, the mapping masterclass, it's I learned through a variety of different ways. Again, like when I started off, I was looking at I was like, okay, so how can we do this, recognizing that Google Earth, whatever it has a limited capacity, is really useful for many things. I use Google Earth, the Google Earth Pro, for many things, but then also the topography doesn't seem to be very accurate. So I set off. I was like, okay, I think a drone is going to be really useful. So I got a drone. I was like learning how to do it, the integration of different softwares, that I mostly learned online. And then I reached out to a guy, Toby, his name was, who helped me with QGIS. And I've been diving a bit more into QGIS recently, especially with there's like new aspects you can use for elevation and slope, which is really cool, really useful. So you can make 3D models from landscapes. And I'm really interested in how that could possibly evolve. I'm going to be looking into how we can integrate that into like weather simulation, as far as like rainfall events and high wind events and solar activity, with 3D maps as well. So to kind of look to see how we can use that kind of information to kind of mimic climate conditions. So yeah, with the mapping, I guess, yeah. So I kind of learned that process through drones, through lidar, and different things. Some of it was quite challenging, but now there's a pretty good flow we have now. And then the mapping process, as far as the base map creation, I've been learning that. I did a course. I was helping Daniel Halsey a number of years ago. So I learned a process using Illustrator with him, but I'm kind of taking it in a slightly different direction, with the designs and the aesthetics and how it looks. And yeah, it's constantly like evolving. It's constantly kind of changing and moving. And so now going into more 3D works as well. So yeah, I guess it's a lot of it has been like, I actually reached out to Daniel a number of years ago because he was the only person that I could find teaching digital design online. So I reached out and actually helped him to put a course together a number of years ago. So it was, so I started with him, but yeah, also like taking like some inspiration from other softwares and other landscape design softwares as well. Like Vectorworks, incredible. Like Vectorworks, I think it's, for me, it's probably the favorite. I'm not using it at the minute, but I was exploring it before. Really, really good for that kind of. It kind of packages many things in one, and it's especially useful if you're working with landscapers, for instance. As far as materials and surface areas and all of these different things. But yeah, I think it's so yeah, just I learned just guess I'm learning guess a step by step process, integrating different technologies and seeing how they can work together. Yeah.
Great stuff. And that's the 21st of June, the mapping course starts.
21st of June, the mapping one starts, and I think the base map course will be up there as well. Yeah, so it takes you through the like how to source lidar, how to extract lidar, how to input it into QGIS, how to generate like really beautiful hill shade effects with accurate contours. So like 50 centimeters is normally what we'd like to use in like for regen ag design. Also teaches you how to work with drones, and how to map land with drones effectively, and also how to like outsource as well, because that's another thing. A lot of people might not have a drone, but if they need to map a property, I've worked with a number of drone operators remotely who love the chance to go and get their drones out. So that's another option. And then it also, after that, it shares how to kind of put all that into, well, we can use Illustrator. Also, we're using the Illustrator, but it could be using any CAD program, and how to make a title block and bring it to scale, and create a key or legend if you need to. And yeah, so it's for print. And then the base map course after that is really more about like how to trace how to trace the maps to create basically what I call like a workable base map. That's when we input some of the other survey information on there, like utilities, like access roads and all that stuff, so we can actually layer on top. And again, with Illustrator, the new functions come out recently, like for the live trace, and it's making the whole thing something that took a long time before, like or for me, I guess I got a few hours now. With the live trace function, you can actually just do that in a few minutes, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's quite a good option. But yeah, so the base map's all about that, and then we'll go through the one after that. Is what we've got coming up in July, is the holistic context. So that's going into like a kind of adaptation of Alan Savory's holistic management process, and it's a process that I learned again with Richard Perkins, is to kind of really extrapolate the vision, the values, what we have to work with, how we'd like our life to be, how we need to be. So it's a process that's can be really useful for the design, for really kind of helping clients to become really clear on what they'd like and why they want it. Because I think the why is really important, and what they need to do to get there, basically. And it can be used applied to life design, relationship design, business design. So yeah, it's going through that, and then from then on, roughly every 2 to 3 weeks, there'll be like another masterclass, which will make up a series, and it will go through each stage of the design process. So there's like a kind of community involvement as well, where myself and some other designers that I work with will be there in the community room, and also lots of resources, loads of templates as well, like design templates and tools like mind maps, things to work with, and lots of technology. We'll be using lots of some of the AI technology throughout the process. There's more and more functionality that's coming through that can be really, really helpful and save a lot of time. Yeah.
And is that on Illustrator or QGIS? QGIS?
Which one's that?
The AI stuff, is that on Illustrator or on QGIS or other?
So yeah, the AI, guess there's like three different softwares I'm using for the AI. One of them is the main one is ChatGPT, which I'm sure many people have probably heard of now. OpenAI ChatGPT. They've just released their most like advanced version for free for everyone, 4.0, and basically, yeah, I guess that one of the ways I've been using that is to have a channel, a chat channel for each project, and I'll feed it in all the context, of what the project is. The location, can feed it in the client context, the holistic context, can feed it in like information about the site, and basically use it as an assistant to go through the design process. So, like as information comes clearer, we'll input that information. We can also ask it to analyze information. Now you've actually got a function where it can analyze photos and information from Google Earth. So you can actually take a screenshot, put it in, and it'll actually give you an assessment analysis of that area. You can also use it for like image generation as well. You can use it for the other thing. The other thing it could use it for is, as well, is really useful is reports. So if if you want to like generate reports based upon a site, or installation guides step by step, you can also ask it, to do like figures, like costings for certain things. There's many applications. So that's mostly a text to text application with ChatGPT, and use it as an assistant. The other one is Midjourney, which is image generation. So you can actually put text to image, but you can also input pictures like photos, and like ask it to illustrate or to input areas for visualizations for clients to get an idea. And the other one is Photoshop. Adobe Photoshop's got a new system called Generative Fill, which is very similar to what Midjourney can do. But you can basically take a picture, whatever, an aerial picture. It can be, a from the ground picture, whatever, panoramic, and you can ask it. You can actually draw like shapes in it and ask it to put in a market garden there, ask it to put in a food forest, ask it to put a pond there, and it'll actually generate an image of a pond or food forests, like whatever, just like that. So you can create some quite interesting visualizations, for when you're doing these the title blocks and design reports. And yeah, I guess so. The way how I can kind of how it could potentially be working in the future. There are integrations with ChatGPT and QGIS that you can actually use, which I'm exploring at the minute. I guess is one of the things with the design skills. We're getting the kind of the basics down there at the minute, but then as we go along, always going to be updating the the systems that are available, and also inviting guest speakers and guest people to come and do workshops and master classes, who might be specialists in some of these areas, so we can kind of just really kind of go on a journey together to kind of explore how we can utilize the technology, to help in our process, really.
That all sounds class. So say if I was to do the mapping course, which is something, everything you says on is something I've been looking to do for a while. It's sort of where I wanted to go next. So could I use Affinity for that and sort of, or do you need to have this Illustrator for it, or is it more based on the QGIS stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, the QGIS stuff's like it's for, I guess, for more like kind of the initial representation with the hillshades and the contour generation. So now with QGIS, it's a skill I've been learning recently. Is really kind of with the hillshades, you have like a color grade, obviously from the high to the low, and also with the hillshade effect, you can kind of see like the lay of the land more. You can see, so you kind of overlay these things with the contours, and it gives you a really beautiful landscapes effect, which you can then use as the base map on Affinity or Illustrator or whatever CAD program you're using. So yeah, the course is taught in Illustrator, but to be honest, like the more and more and more, I saw you in the group before you sent that Affinity 50% off thing, and I was looking at it, I was like, okay, because it's yeah, because
Yeah.
the Illustrator is obviously you got that you got the ongoing payment with that. It's lots, it's great. I guess I got used to it, but from what I've seen from Affinity now, it looks like it's got the same functionality. I don't think there's things like pretty much. I don't think there's many like things that you can do in Illustrator that you can't in Affinity. So you can, yeah, you can follow the process. I guess it's for the minute, like at the minute we've just got it on Illustrator, but it would be great to have something on Affinity as well, like to go along with it, because it makes sense. It makes sense to have that one-off payment, and maybe with other things as well. I'd love to actually, as we go through the design process, incorporate the other softwares as well, like SketchUp and Rhino, and these other ones, that we could also use. So it's a base map that could be used, perhaps applied in lots of different circumstances using the software. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was not. What I was like was, have you seen Unreal Engine, the games engine?
Yeah,
Can you,
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'd love to be able to figure out a way to get permaculture designs in there, so you can just basically stick on a VR headset and walk around.
Yeah, I've had a similar thought. Yeah, imagine
Uh,
if you could just zoom into sites and
mhm.
get a complete accurate topography, and again simulate weather conditions, simulate sun, simulate extremes, and then perhaps also within, like, in some way, put pocket ponds, like little little key point dams and things like this, and kind of then like strategically position these different the different aspects of the design, and kind of simulate things to see how it would affect, and also to
Yeah,
show clients.
yeah, and you can do it. I think you can do it with Chat GPT now. It details out the process. Because I did see one video that basically took Google Earth in the 3D with a 3D Google, and then basically just somebody turned it around like 360 using a mapping software, so that it took a picture and then it mapped it, and then it put it
Hmm.
in the Unreal Engine, and you were able to actually see. So I think it is possible. I just don't have the time to execute on it.
uh,
uh,
I think
so I
it could
think
be a
it.
really. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
go
sorry,
ahead.
after you.
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
just going to say, yeah, just touching on that, I think it could be a really good opportunity for collaboration for a lot of people that work in tech, who are, I know some people in tech, there's often a disconnection with their purpose and their meaning and their spirit with what they're doing, and it's like, could be a really good opportunity for a collaboration for people that are working in tech in these areas, in AI, in 3D, VR, AR, all of these different kind of areas, to collaborate with permaculturalists, in this way, and to, like, potentially to develop some collaborative software. I mean, how great would it be if, yeah, you've got all of the access to all of the different plant libraries from all different places, and for that specific region with that specific soil type with these certain microclimates, these certain plants, you've got a range of them, and all of those plants, perhaps you've got, like, not just circles, what I'm using at the minute, but full on, like, representations of the plants with their mature canopy size, and you can, like, mimic their growth, over the years, and then also check for principles. You can also check, like, cross check it through forest garden, food forest design principles, about the spacing, nitrogen fixing, all the different, like, kind of aspects of that. And yeah, I mean, I would love for that to kind of actually to be like a more of a harmonious relationship between permaculture and regenerative design and the world of tech. I think it's an opportunity, but I don't know, like, yeah, where those edges are. I mean, I know they're there, but I don't know where they are. There is actually someone in Guatemala who messaged me recently who said he is working on something like that. He said he was going to let me know when he has a tester up to see how it goes. But
Well,
yeah,
you have to share that with us when he gets it.
definitely.
Uh, Oh, yeah, that's been great. Is there anything else you want to tell us now before we wrap this up? Anything we missed?
Um, I just want to, yeah, I just want to, express gratitude for you, Cormac, and thanks for, yeah, doing the work that you do. I think it's really important to create these kind of platforms where where we can just share, our expression, where we're at in the journey, and what we're up to, and yeah. I think it's so. Yeah, I'd like first just express gratitude for you for inviting me in onto the show, and to yeah, and to have just to share this time with you here, it's really lovely. And yeah, and I guess just putting that out there again is, if, like, if you're thinking about taking a journey in design with permaculture and a PDC, whatever, yeah, just know, I think it's a time in the world right now, I feel, where this kind of role is really important. I feel like it's more important now than perhaps ever, because of, if we can kind of see the possible trajectories of humanity, um, the many possible trajectories, but there's also perhaps some that might seem more likely. Then I think the more we can, like, consciously, compassionately, like, utilize our capacity as humans in a way which can help to create more health, more happiness, more abundance, more kind of holistic well-being, really, for all beings, then I think that's what the best one of the best things I feel like we can do at the minute. If this is our, if it's inclined in us, if it's indicated in us to do that, I think it's time to step up and just know now that there's support. Know that there are people. It's Cormac. There's myself. I'm available. And there's many teachers out there that are support. And it's just remember, it's that a lot of the thing that holds us back is taking the first step. So it's encouraging people to jump into the river. You're going to feel great after you do it. And I just wanted to say, like, I just set up a thing as well for the design school before here, a little coupon. And if anyone is interested, we're launching 21st, but we're going to do a 40% discount for anyone who's listening to this podcast, this video cast. If you'd like to sign up for an annual membership, so it's going to run each month, then we've got 40% off that. And that you just go onto the earthrepairs.com and you'll be able to see there, which is the website. But if you go into design school, that will take you through to the school, which is running on another site. And it's just Vine Podcasts, all in capitals. You can put that and you can get 40% off an annual subscription. But yeah, if anyone wants to get in touch, if anyone's interested, if anyone just wants to chat, talk things through, please reach out, earthrepairs@gmail.com. And you can also find me on Facebook at earthrepairs. And yeah, and if anyone happens to be in the Sacred Valley of Peru or come to visit, then please get in touch. Yeah, I'm happy. I'll be here. Yeah, this is now home. So yeah, please let me know.
Ollie, thank you very much for the podcast and the very generous discount. I'm sure our listeners will enjoy that. Definitely excited about the mapping one myself. Ollie, thank you. And for listeners as well, we have a course on Affinity where we do the basics of post PDC, doing your site visits, what questions do you ask, how do you communicate with your client, how do you create a base map, how do you do a plant list, and how do you display it on the website so you get your first job up and running. And then after you do our course, go to Ollie's then. It's more advanced. Ours is the Ryanair course, but we're happy at that.
There's so many different ways of doing things, and it's like, I think it's not one over than or better than another. I feel it's like I think it's so important to have these like array of ways of doing things, isn't it? Because we learn more from each of these processes. Then it's like, the way I approach it, it's like I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it. To be honest, I'm going to have a look at it after this, yeah, because it'd be good. I'd like to see your process and your approach, because it's like every person's got their own unique gifts and insights and questions like that they bring to the process, isn't it? I think the questions are so important. The question to having the right question. I think it's a really important part.
Yeah. Well, for us, it's just everybody's at a different place, different circumstances. So we're happy to share everybody's courses and put them out there. And I think it's a good idea. Ollie, thank you very much, and we'll see you back at one of the roundtables very soon. So if you keep an eye out for Ollie will be back. And guys, that's been Olly Boon on the Permaculture Vine podcast. We'll see you all next week. Thanks.